start.
Okay, this is anatomy of the kidney. Oh, just you talk. That's fine.
Hold it. How?
Yeah, you can hold it. You just, here's a pencil. You can just point to the parts. Thank you, Professor. See? Everyone's here. Okay.
This is a kidney. I am not a kidney. I have two kidneys. All right. The outer covering is the capsule.
Okay.
This is the ureter, which goes down to the bladder. This is the pelvis. These individual structures are called the, what are they called? They're called something. Minor calyx. You know it.
There you go, yeah.
And then several minor calyces will come together as a major and then lead to the pelvis.
Yeah.
And the two main divisions of the whole kidney are the cortex, is this lighter part out here. The medulla is not continuous. It is these pyramid triangles called pyramids. That's the medulla. And the area between them, the pyramids, is called the columns. Now for the blood vessels. This is renal artery, renal vein. The first branches are interlobar artery, interlobar vein. They're in the columns going between the pyramids. And then these arcing branches off the interlobar are called arcuate vein and artery. And then these smaller ones going up into the cortex from the arcuate, they are the interlobular artery and vein. This is better seen on a bigger model, but this is the lighter colored is part of what's called a collecting system. Collecting ducts, the bottom part, which empties into the calyx, is a papillary duct, because this apex of the pyramid, the point of it, is called a papilla. And it's not well shown on this model, but the green parts here are called nephron, and then the bumps here are called corpuscles. And you need the other model to really get details on that.
Okay.
Let's go to the other model. This is a model of showing part of a pyramid down here, because there's the same papillary duct as here. And this would be cortex here, because that's the arcuate artery and vein here. And these are the interlobulars, just like these, up in the cortex. So that's cortex, that's medulla. And for the nephron, the purple, and this one is showing the whole thing. This has been cut open. It's a purple cup-shaped thing called Bowman's capsule. That's the beginning of the nephron. And then coming from that is a proximal convoluted, because it's coiled up, proximal convoluted tubule. Then we have a thick descending that can also be called straight proximal. Then you get a thin descending. Anything going from cortex to medulla is called descending. Then you make a little hairpin turn. You go up to a thin ascending. Anything going from medulla to cortex is called ascending. So thin ascending stops there. Then you get a thick ascending, also called straight distal. And then the darker green from this straight distal is then called the distal convoluted, which joins the duct system called a connecting tube right there. Then this becomes collecting tube, and then the very bottom little bit here is the papillary duct. Then for the blood vessels, we've already done the arcuate vessels and the interlobular. Coming off of interlobular will be a slightly larger afferent arteriole. It becomes a capillary bed, very funny looping looking capillary bed called glomerulus. And then blood goes from there out a smaller one called the efferent arteriole. This doesn't show it, but efferent will actually break up into another capillary bed called the peritubular capillaries that surround a lot of the nephron. And from that will come some straight ones called vasa recta that go down into the medulla. Another bunch of capillaries. So vasa recta, peritubular capillaries, glomerulus are three capillary beds. And then And then from the peritubular blood will go into the interlobular vein. So that's this model. This is a close-up of this glomerulus and capsule. However, the whole association between glomerulus, these red loops, and the purple around it, the capsule, is called the corpuscle. This one is called the model of a corpuscle, which is glomerulus plus Bowman's capsule equals corpuscle. So that, again, the larger afferent arteriole, the smaller efferent arteriole, and then the glomerulus. And this thing right here is a special thing called juxtaglomerular apparatus right in here, which involves, more about it in the lecture, but involves the wall of the arterioles, and also the distal convoluted tubule comes back and touches the capsule. This doesn't show it, but it does touch it right here. The distal does. Special association, later in the lecture. Now, this is also, this right here is the purple is the